Okay, we're ready.
Okay, welcome, good afternoon, and welcome to the Housing and Economic Development Committee. Today is September 22nd, 2020. We will begin today's meeting with the roll call, posting of the agenda, and the flag salute.
Member Basua.
Here.
Member Flynn.
Present.
Chair Madrigal.
Here.
Chair, we have a quorum, and the agenda for this meeting was posted in the City Hall kiosk on Wednesday, September 16th.
Okay, thank you very much. Mayor, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Sure. All rise, please. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Moving right along, we have item B, or letter B, public comments on items not on the agenda. And it looks like we have no public comments this afternoon. That being the case, then we'll move on to the consent agenda. And we have the approval of minutes for the September 8th, 2020 meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Call for a vote.
Member Basua.
Aye.
Member Flynn.
Aye.
Chair Madrigal.
Aye.
The motion to approve carries 3-0.
Okay, thank you. Next, moving on to reports, and we have an update on the proposed homeless solution center and next steps. And I believe presenting.
Good afternoon, members of the Housing and Economic Development Committee. Emilio Ramirez, Housing Director. We're before you to offer an update on the status of the proposed Homeless Solution Center and seek feedback, advice on the process in order to proceed on that development of that new construction project. First, by starting with an identification of the need. As you can see on screen, the point-in-time count shows a continuing unsheltered population that is still in need of being served. Yes, there has been a reduction of that unsheltered population from 2019 to 2020, and that reduction is directly attributable to the opening of the now year-round shelter operation on K Street. So there is a clear evidence that such an operation is needed. So staff seeks to maintain the year-round operation on K Street and then eventually relocate it to the new site to be considered, which we are currently proposing to be the Homeless Solution Center at that corner of 2nd and B in downtown Oxnard. As you know, the City Council approved an exclusive negotiating agreement with community development partners in June of this year. Council directed staff to negotiate, draft a proposed disposition and development agreement and return to council for council's final consideration and approval to move forward with that proposed development of that Homeless Solution Center. Staff continues to work on such an agreement and has identified this in such an agreement which will identify the scope of services and the scale of development. Currently, we are considering a 5-story tall building, which would be a new construction project at that corner of 2nd and B in downtown Oxnard. And that building is proposed to include a 110-bed shelter operation plus on-site support services, that which we have formerly called and currently call a navigation center, plus a mixture of uses atop of that ground floor operation, which would include 56 units of permanent supportive housing, like an apartment complex, to be operated under a housing first model. Housing staff has engaged private outside counsel, Mark Mannion, from the firm of Price Postal in Parma to help us draft that disposition and development agreement, and that effort continues to be a work in progress. At the same time, Community Development Partners, our development partner that we've identified as party to the exclusive negotiating agreement, has engaged their design professionals and submitted an entitlement application to planning, which includes a request for design development review, a special use permit, and a lot line adjustment. Lot line adjustment because the site in question is actually two parcels that are right next to each other. The proposal, that proposal for entitlement was considered at the Design Advisory Committee on September 2nd, and the application for entitlement is still active and moving forward, subject to the discussion today. The proposed site that we are considering is at the very corner of 2nd and B, the northeast corner of 2nd and B, which is city-owned property that formerly housed the Code Compliance Division. We're also proposing to park off-site, as you can see on this public parking lot that is across the street of B at that opposite corner. In the proposed development, we are including that homeless shelter navigation center function on the ground floor, which would include approximately 14,000 square feet of such an operation. The operation of that shelter would require a special use permit. The floors up top that would include the 56 units of affordable housing, in this case, permanent supportive housing, to be operated by community development partners under the model of Housing First. That aspect of the development does comply with the downtown code, and therein lies the reason for the design review. The ground floor requires a special permit, and that's why we submitted that particular application. This is a rendering of a concept rendering of the elevation of what it might look like from a street view. This is across the street of 2nd Street from the perspective of the public parking lot that serves the City Hall. So we have essentially two options that we would like to receive feedback on. Option A is the one that we are on right now. That's the one that includes delivering a disposition development agreement for council consideration and continuing with the entitlement applications that I described that we have together with our development partner, community development partners, we have submitted. We would also undertake the funding application from the county in order to memorialize their contribution to the homeless shelter aspect of it. Option B, I'll describe in greater detail, but it essentially involves separating the two functions and bringing forth that disposition development agreement first, and then continue with the entitlements after council has a chance to consider that DDA. So option A, moving forward as we described, and our current strategy, we would go to a community workshop. That community workshop is a standard part of the process when there is an item for the Planning Commission to consider. In this case, the Planning Commission will be considering a special use permit. Also, the rest of the project will also be described in the community workshop, including design, the apartment complex, everything else. We would go to director's hearing, which is part of the process for a design development review. And since we include a design development review and a special use permit and a lot line adjustment, then we're going to undertake the various processes for those applications. Planning Commission would consider the special use permit probably in December. And then we would work with community development partners to solicit first round funding for No Place Like Home at the beginning of the year, bring forth a disposition development agreement, the county MOU, including having described and subject to adoption or ratification by the council, the special use permits and everything else that was already considered in the part earlier in the slide. We would then move forward to apply for funding in July of 2021 for tax credits, be it 4% or 9% competitive or non-competitive awards. If those things are awarded, then we could be under construction in mid 2022 and have occupancy in winter 2023. Considering that the applications for funding are also competitive, and we cannot be sure that the competition will be successful. And if they are not successful, then we will need to apply in the subsequent round, which would mean delays because of the nature of the receipt of those funding. Option B is to consider the community workshop on the 19th of October, but essentially delay everything else relative to the entitlement, bring forth the DDA or the disposition development agreement on the land conveyance to council. And if council does approve that disposition and development agreement, then continuing with the entitlement process. As you can see, we would still go to planning commission and we would still bring forth the MOU with the county just in a later phase. At the end of the day, that puts us about a year behind. We would then not be able to apply to the No Place Like Home funding round in 2021, and we would not then be able to subsequently apply for the tax credit award. So we would have to wait a year to undertake that effort and then put us behind in that 1 year effort. Again, considering that we can't be confident that we would be successful in the competitive applications for funding. But it does mean that the entitlement would put us in that year behind. Ultimately, the council is the final authority in as much as the council has the full discretion to approve or deny the disposition and development agreement. That is the document that contracts for the conveyance of the land and would also describe the future development of the proposed homeless solution center. And because the city is the landowner, despite whether or not we have designs or we are in the middle or at the end of the entitlement process, it cannot be built without the city council approving that DDA such that we can proceed on the development that would be described within that document. So staff is hoping that you receive this update and seeking your feedback on whether we should proceed as per option A that we're on right now, that track that we're on right now, or that we bifurcate the two efforts, bring forth the agreement for disposition and development, and then proceed subsequent to that consideration by council with the entitlement should that DDA be approved by council. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much for the presentation. We do have a few speakers, and we'll start with Douglas Partello.
Douglas, if you can hear us, you have to press 1. Okay, it looks like it's not going through.
Okay, we'll move on and then we'll come back to Douglas one last time when we're done. Next speaker we have is Max Guinness.
Hi, Max.
Hello.
Hi, you've got 3 minutes to address the committee. Please begin.
Great. Thank you all. My comment is brief, but I just want to say that homelessness is a pretty severe situation and it's not likely getting any better in the pandemic. And even once the pandemic is over, I think it needs to be addressed as quickly as possible. So I hope you'll consider following staff's recommendation and pursuing option 1 so that the facility can be built as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Melissa Campbell Langdell.
Hello.
Hi, you've got 3 minutes. Please begin.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon to Mayor Flynn and the Housing and Economic Development Committee members. My name is Pastor Melissa Campbell Langdell, and I would like to speak in support of the Homeless Solutions Center at 2nd and B Streets in downtown, and especially a more expedited process of the 2 options. Although there may be some minor inconvenience to local residents and businesses from the project, I actually think that those will be outweighed by the great good that the project will do for our homeless brothers and sisters. And Mercy House has a good track record for improving the local area. And I truly believe this project will benefit the local community, and we are our church are neighbors to this property. Matthew 25:35 says, I was hungry and you gave me to eat, thirsty and you gave me to drink, a stranger and you invited me in. And I think our city can find a way to invite the homeless poor and may even find that they bless us. So thank you so much and have a great evening.
Thank you very much.
Have a good
Lastly,
one.
lastly, we'll try Douglas Partello one last time.
So it appears to have gone to voicemail, but we don't know for sure yet.
Okay. Then I guess we'll move on.
Yeah, the
Mayor.
call isn't successful.
Okay.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. It's pretty straightforward to me, and I think that option A is the way to go. The council has already voted unanimously to proceed with this, and why I don't see any reason to delay it in any way. And I appreciate the housing director for bringing this forward to the committee. But clearly put, or simply put, it is another great attribute of the committee system. I think providing this direction for what the council has already stated. We know we have a grave situation on our hands. We have a lot of people that are still going to be unsheltered. And I want to move forward with this as quickly as possible. Choose option A. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilwoman Vasula.
Gabby, you're on mute.
Sorry, I apologize. I couldn't agree more with the mayor. I think option A is the best option for us at this point in order to move this project forward. But I do have a question for Mr. Ramirez. Mr. Ramirez, do we have a plan in case we do apply for the tax credit and we don't get that application approved?
Well, as little as the plan it is, the plan is simply just try again next round. We're going to continue to try, and we do know that we qualify. We do know that it scores and it is competitive. We do know that we have a partner that meets all the experience points. So it does work. It is competitive though. And so if we do not succeed in that competition, we'll just have to try again in the following round.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure that we understand that, those tax credits are really important and it might hold us up if they're not awarded to us when we really need them in that round. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll agree with my colleagues. This is a very important project, and even if all things work perfectly well, which 99% of the time there's always at least one hiccup along the way, there probably will still be some delay down the road. So I'd say the best thing right now is to move forward with option A. Okay. Any other comments by by committee members? If there is no other comments, I don't think this is a voting item. So did staff get the proper feedback from the committee?
Yes, very clear. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. Okay, moving on, item E, items for future agendas. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I asked in the Finance and Governance Committee because we received an update on Measure O spending, and the Safe Home, Safe Families program was one of those programs that has right now a delay in the funding, or at least stopping it because of the reductions of Measure O money. And so one of the things I would desire is an update on the Safe Home, Safe Families program at the soonest possible date prior to my departure from the council.
Okay, Mayor, thank you for that. Actually, very good idea. Councilwoman Basua?
I actually also have a request, as we've kind of have, started to do a new normal with the whole COVID thing. I have had requests from the Homeless Commission to start going back to meetings. And I know that is very difficult for staff because of the time that we're in with COVID, but I would like to see a report on how we plan on moving forward with our commissions that have not had meetings in order to get them back on track.
Councilmember Basua, I won't be bringing a report back here, but we do have good news that we will be starting those very soon. We just are getting access to the Zoom accounts, and we're going to train the liaisons. So I will be in contact with the CAG chair people as well as the liaisons over the next couple of weeks to start to implement those.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And unlike my colleagues, I actually do not have anything at this moment. And that being the case, then this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.